Hi there, welcome back. If you're new here, I'm Catherine, and I'm having a little bit of my day to share with you. I make journals out of old books, and the old book I'm working on right now is called A Strange Story. And I keep finding little bits more about the second owner. The first owner was, I think, someone named George, or the first owner. At some point, it got into the hands of Ruth Tick, and she was born Ruth White. And from what I have since found out, I did find her obituary, and she had 2 daughters at some point. So I guess at some point, even her daughters emptied out her library, and this one is no wonder. It was falling absolutely apart, and it's absolutely a mess, and it's absolutely wonderful. So I've been working on it today. I've been trying to come up with what I want. I've decided I want something long and rectangular to put here because I'm going to put a drawer pull here. So I have a few ideas, but in the meantime, I'm still working on, oh, come on, brain cramp, folios for signatures. So these signatures were in my press. They're coming along nicely. So these are all from that pile of folios that I pulled out of signatures from journals that have already been made and long gone. So there are journals out there in the world that at one point had these folios in them, and the folios didn't get to stay. But now they're going to have a home in a strange story. So they found a strange way to arrive in their new home, which I rather like. And you know me, if you know me, I like to challenge myself. I do better when I challenge myself when I'm making a journal. And so right now I'm working with Frankensteining some papers together to fill out all the signatures. And I think we could be almost ready. I don't want to take up too much. I don't want to fill them too much. I want to make sure I've got this not crooked. And you know art glitter glue. If you're not fast, boy, with art glitter glue, you snooze, you lose. So let's see. Let's fold that backwards and we'll have a bit of a tip out. And I'm just coming up with interesting ways to have interesting pages. So I've got, this came out of another book. I think it came out of a book called Hot Dog Partners that I almost worked on instead of this book. But then A Strange Story, that title just won. And then I have this tea-dyed statement. It was from a pad I found thrifting, and it was from the 1900s, so it's It's at least 23 years old, 24 years old. I doubt they would have printed anything with the number 19 in 1999. There would be no point financially for that company to start printing invoices that say 19 on it at the point of 1999. They would only have a year to sell it, or cross their fingers that crazy people like you and I would start making junk journals. So I just want 7. So we got 1, 2, 3. And then I want to, oh, I already had this. And I think it's a good size. I found it over with, yeah, look at that. I found it over with my, I have a pile of Edith Holden. I keep my Edith all together. And so even though it was a folio, it went back in with the Edith. And sometimes I ink the torn edge and sometimes I don't. And this time I am. So, go figure. You explain it, I can't. Did everyone enjoy Nick the Booksmith's video lately on how to turn an old book into a junk journal? If you haven't seen it, go over and watch it. If you haven't made a journal out of an old book and you've been sort of dying to, she takes you through it step by step. She's so good at the editing and shortening up videos, and she's able to get it done, I think, in 50 minutes. And so you can pause and start and pause and start and make yourself a video, a journal. Now, she doesn't do a hidden hollow back spine in it. So if you're hoping for a hidden hollow back spine, you're still going to need to take her course, which is very inexpensive. I think it's $15, or it was when I took it several years ago. She might have raised the price by now. I certainly hope she has. Everything else has gone up in life. Okay, so that's 4. I still have a little bit more Edith, and I can use that upright. Oh, look at that. It's almost the correct height. I'm trying to make use of the offcuts. All of the signatures have 1 page out of, oh no, not in this one. Okay, so these offcuts are actually from the folios, the signatures that are going into Louis, Oscar, and William. And I'm trying to make use of them. So, and I'm doing some Frankensteining. So here's a little secret. Oh, okay, let me tell you this. Here's a little secret. If I'm making a folio and I know for sure that it's going to go somewhere in the center of the signature, think about this. When you start putting more and more and more papers into a signature, more and more folios in, those folios that are in the center of the signature eventually, because of the bulk building up in this hinge, they're going to start sticking out if you continue to cut your papers the same width as your original template. So if you're creating folios, you're getting near the end of filling up your signatures, I suggest that you make those folios a little bit smaller so that they don't stick out and you don't end up either having to trim them, or else if you don't mind that every single signature has unevened pages, because the outer pages of each signature will stick out further than the inner pages. Now I'm erasing that. Since it's going to be in the fold, you probably wouldn't notice it, but I would know it's there, and it's the type of thing that bugs me. So you do you, but I try my best to remember to erase it. All right, so since there's nothing here, but there's pretty flowers on that side, I'm going to, hold on. You know what? I'm probably interfering with your view by having my extra papers there. Let's do this. This is my template. You can see I stuck my offcuts of my distressed contractor's tape there. So if this is my fold, then I want, we might as well trim this now. No. No. No, it's not going to work. I thought I would... Oh, wait. It could work. It could work. If I give myself that much room... Just bear with me while my brain thinks. Bear with me. All right, all right. And then I'll still explain at the end. For those of you that say, why did she do that? I still don't get why she did that. All right, so still more offcut. It'll get used on something. And you might be wondering, why is she switching in and out all these different things when there's a cutter already on here? I don't like those little triangle blades. I find that they tear the paper even when it's brand new and nice and sharp. It's just me. I don't like it. If you like it, as I just said, you do you. And it's all good. It's all good. Alrighty. Now, I'm not going to erase that because it's going to be on the inside. Ho ho! Because you were probably going to say, Catherine, you didn't erase that. And you said you erase things. There we go. I just want to marry up those. You know what? I think I want to do another fold just so that it looks nice. And you might be wondering, every once in a while I re-explain it. There's a line here. I used a magic marker, a Sharpie, thin one. And I just chose the 3-inch mark randomly so that I have more of a platform to work on. But I find that by having that long line, it gives me a goal to look for. down here because I can be a vigorous line scorer, pardon me. I can be so vigorous that I end up running this thing right across the page instead of down. So if I can see that black line, and to me, all those lines are just a blur of lines. So that black one gives me a goal of what to be following for. All right, so again, just looking for ways to use up leftovers for a strange story. There we go. You're going that way. So we're going to use a little bit of glue here. I'm still going to sew because I've been doing some sewing. Wait, no. Oh, let's let that dry. I want to sew that. Ho, 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 ho. I'm just rolling off the glue. It'll dry faster if I roll off that damp glue. There we go. All right, I'm going to go over and I'm just going to sew this edge. And I'll be right back. Okay, so stitched along that. I'm going to give it just a teeny tiny bit of, where's this? Why did I do that? I like to keep track of my pins, not only so I don't lose my mind looking for it later for this, more so for the safety of my little dog, because she doesn't know enough and she would go, oh, what's this? And start trying to chew on it. I just want to accentuate the sewing a little bit. It's competing a little with the tea dyeing. That's better. I should have done it this way in the first place. And I've already knotted and pushed that down. Even though it's on the other side, I push it down anyways. It's just going to make it smoother because it's going to be a tuck spot. Now, all these edges, except for the top one, they've all been freshly cut, and to me that bugs me a bit because the top part is got that lovely tea dye darkness, and when it's freshly cut, because we've got to trim it so that it fits into the book, it bugs me. So sometimes, not always, but sometimes I'll take the time. There we go. And why is my brain doing this to me lately? I'll take the time and tea dye, distressing those fresh cut edges. All right, so let's put you in there. Thank you for your patience. With my scatterbrain today, I'll give that a little bit of a edge because I actually think I can do a double purpose. If I glue this on here a little bit further away from that fold so that I don't bulk up right where this folio is going to fold. Then if I sew along here, that also can be a tuck spot, right? Ah! I get excited about little things like that. Oh, rats. Pause. Gotta find a pin. Found it. We're really on the countdown for the eyes. Like, I'm literally days away from having my left eye cataract removed. Oh, and then I will have, for regular vision 2020, I will need readers for sure. For the time being, it looks like, at least for my one eye, I won't need a prescription at all, which he was hoping for, but he didn't promise. But he can't promise that my eyes won't continue to deteriorate as aged people's vision can do. And mine deteriorates. I should have glued that down. Which is fine, because certainly it took me 63 years for my vision to get to over plus 600. So, you know, if I'm lucky and I get, 20 more years here on this planet, I'd be grateful for that. I'm not going to go to plus 600 in 20 years. It took me 63 to get to that. So I'm okay with that. That's a blessing, right? It's a good thing. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I should have waited to glue it down. I wanted to glue that. I wanted to sew that edge. But now if I sew, no, I still can sew that edge because it'll still be a tuck spot. Yes, because I'll still be able to tuck things in there. All right, I'll be right back. And let's cross our fingers that what I'm thinking will work. Okay, sewing is done. We got a lot of threads here. There should be some short ones. Let's tie these off. Right over left and under, left over right and under, and then I do one more for good measure. It's just me. So how are you doing? I hope you're doing okay. Let me know down below. I also keep track of my threads because she'll eat the threads, and boy, that's dangerous too. It was bad when my hair was longer because I shed worse than Kirby does. Kirby is 3/4 poodle. So, although she has to get groomed, I've never had a non-shedding dog. And my world is forever changed. It is wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. I've had shedding dogs all of my adult life. Now we need to my neighbor's mowing his or her lawn. If you hear anything, that's what that I didn't have a dog growing up, but I always wanted a dog. And once my oldest children were old enough to help out with a dog, I went out and got a dog. With our budget, we probably had no business getting a dog, but I knew every little kid, if they can, should have a dog growing up. And I was a stay-at-home mom, and so I just squirreled away extra money from out of the grocery money. And when I had enough, I found a dog for how much I had saved. And if that dog wasn't the best darn dog, look what I did. I used the extra. I thought I was being clever, and it's short. You know what? I don't care. It gives it character. Anyhow, so I was in, let's see, my girls, my oldest were 9. So I would have been 30. No. Yes. No. Because my youngest was 2 and they were 9 when he was born. So they were 11. So I was 32 when I got my first dog. Fortunately, I was around a lot of dogs. So there we've got a tuck spot there. And then over on this side, we've got another tuck spot with that. Now, you know what? We like pages of varying sizes in our journals, don't we? So I'm going to overlook that I thought I was being clever and measured. Anyhow, I was very fortunate. My mother-in-law knew a lot about dogs. She bred collies and shelties for many years, and I knew her since I was a teenager. So even though I wasn't able to grow up with a dog, my parents grew up with dogs, but for whatever reason, I guess because they grew up with dogs, they knew the work involved, and they never wanted one for when they were parenting, and that's their choice. I don't know why I just inked that. It's going in the corner. But my mother-in-law was so helpful with teaching me really good stuff to know about raising dogs and training dogs, even from adults, even if you got a dog from an adult, because sometimes she would take in dogs, collies and shelties that had finished breeding. Breeders don't always keep their female dogs forever, even after they're finished having all the litters they're going to have. They'll usually rehome their mommies, and she taught me lots of good stuff. So thank goodness, I thank her for what I know. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We need one more to make 7. So all the dogs that I had from age 32 on, so I guess I've had dogs for 31 years, always. Have been shedding dogs. And so Kirby is my first non-shedding dog, and this is just a delight. Just an absolute delight. I'm just using that template. I think I want to turn you over. I wonder if I just want to cut you off. I think I'm trying to use as much of this paper as I can. And by folding that up, think about it, that also becomes a tuck spot, but tons of journaling space. Oh, on the other hand, I was hoping to put it in this way so that the writing lines go that way. Okay, I'm going to pause and think about this. I changed my mind and I decided that this paper is thin enough. This is the yellow side of paper, of invoices that are 2 sheets. So you rip one off and you give the original to the customer and you keep the yellow one for yourself. This is the yellow one. And it's thin enough that you and I are going to ignore that I tried to already fold it. I'm just distressing the fresh cut line so it matches the tea dyeing. Vintage photo, I find, is a really, really close match to the shade of the tea that I use to tea dye my paper. I use Tetley tea. I used to buy cheap tea and save the Tetley to drink. Oh no, where did I? Oh, it is in there. I used to save the Tetley to drink. And I realized the cheap tea, it was cheaper for a reason. I didn't like what it was leaving on my papers. It wasn't bad, but I just find that Tetley, not only is it tastier to drink, but it makes a superior dye for my papers. So even though there's a fold there, you know what? It's already crinkly and wrinkly anyways, and we're all about the character, right? There's my offcut. So I'm still dealing with offcuts, but let's put these in here. I'm going to put this thin one in the first signature because it's already getting bulky. When possible, if I've got a pretty page like this one, I'll leave that in the middle. If not, I'll try and leave a completely blank one in the middle. So we're not going to put it there, but we might put it here because that would make for an interesting overlapping, those 3 overlaps when you turn that page. I like that visually. Sometimes with the first and last signatures in a junk journal, you almost have a little more room to go a little heavier because the hinge, this area here, gives you a little bit more room once you've sewn in your text block. And I find that if I want to, I can add a few extra pages to the first and the last signature. Feel it out, see if that works for you, but it certainly works for me. Now, do I have it? I've already got a tip out in here. This was in my leftover folios, so I'm not going to put that there, but let's put maybe one of these interesting pages. And I purposefully folded that askew because sometimes I like that. Sometimes I'm a little askew. I'm already over time here. And if you're still here, thank you. Let's just keep going here. Let's see if I have any tip outs in this one yet. I don't like to put more than... I broke my own rule there. I've got the music in the center and I don't want it. I had to put that one in because my granddaughter laughs at me. I'm still of the generation where we called the meat part that goes in a hot dog, we called that the wiener and the bun. And when you put them together, then you have a hot dog. Well, the new generation of children apparently call those wieners hot dogs. The wiener itself is a hot dog. And I suppose a wiener is something, well, we're not going to go there. Anyhow, she was over one December, she was over helping me make my plum puddings, and we had hot dogs for lunch. And I kept referring to, let's cook the wieners. And apparently she went home and said to her mother, "Mom, Bubby calls hot dogs wieners." And she thought that was hilarious. Let's put a little bit of Edith in this one. So this is in honor of Mallory. Wienerwald. Wienerwald? I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, and I'm sure there is someone viewing this who can let me know if I am pronouncing that correctly. All right, let's see here. Do I have any tip outs? There's 2 tip outs, so we're not putting a tip out there. Let's put you here. I'm really taking up time. I'm giving myself 2.5 minutes to get this done before I bid you adieu. That one will work, because then I will have a blank center. If I flip this, if I switch those out and I put you there, then what have I done? All right, I clearly have some sorting out to do, because somehow or other folio 5 has canoodled with folio 6, and I have a feeling this is folio 6, so I'm going to have to figure this out, and I'm running out of time. So it's been one of those days, obviously. Thanks for joining me anyways on one of those days. I hope you have a great rest of your day and it doesn't turn out to be one of those days. I don't think I should leave the house today. I'm staying in.